Hey guys, today I'm looking at Splatoon. So this was kind of, Nintendo's new IPs for their next gen series of consoles. When, everyone else was doing, Xbox One and whatever, they had their Wii U era, and this was typically seen as a pretty dark era, frankly, for Nintendo. And this was kind of the IP that they made. And so Splatoon is a combination of, squids and cartoons, I guess. And so they wanted to make a more kid-friendly multiplayer shooter. And so I don't know how you feel about this game. I definitely enjoy it to, some extent, but I never really connected with this. There's nothing about this game that made me go, wow, or like, oh, Nintendo's back, or this is amazing. Splatoon was fun in its own way. It has its, moments and whatever. And I like how the fact it's based off essentially how much turf you cover rather than how many kills you get in a match. Again, I was never really into the multiplayer except for like the salmon run in the second game, but yeah. What I do like is that, you get a wide variety of different kind of weapons to use in the game world to, your advantage. Everything from, like pistols to rifles, little like giant paint rollers and stuff. And overall, it's a fun game with a very distinct, aesthetic, a very distinct musical style as well. The way that the squids talk is very funny and amusing. And it has a unique gameplay design mechanic. I can only say, though, that unfortunately it's just not something that really connected with. It's not anything that I was like, oh yeah, this is super amazing, super cool. It was just kind of middle of the road. And I guess by extension, I'll talk about Splatoon 2 as well in this review, since they're pretty similar games. The only difference is that, the main campaign is slightly different. There's a new update and like stuff in Splatoon 2. And I might play Splatoon 3, but I'm never really super cared for, these kind of games. And I don't know why. It's just like... It's like, okay, cool. There's no real story. You basically have to, defend the DJs or whatever of the city, and basically create this, stop the DJ whatever from like making bad music or something like Jet Set Radio. I honestly forget about the story, and no one plays this game for the story. This is a multiplayer focused game. And so again, when it comes to multiplayer games, my entire philosophy is like, well, there are millions of multiplayer games that all have very similar styles and whatever, and I need to be very selective when I choose a multiplayer game, because you're investing a lot of time in something that doesn't have an end, and beginning, end, and a story. And again, you can make a very short, well-made single-player story, and that's what I'm really looking for in a lot of games that I play. And so, the main thing is you have to like protect like the sparkfish or the whalefish or whatever in this game. And again, I forget the rest of the plot. And basically you go through these, you basically have a hub world, and you jump into these little missions like it's, Super Mario 64. And again, each one will have a different weapon that you use, display, its functions, and you basically use it in that level, and you have a certain challenge that you have to beat. The single player itself, it really is not that difficult at all. It's really there as a training module for the multiplayer. And again, for my favorite, mode, Salmon Run, where you have a cooperative mode where you're taking on a series of different enemies and collecting a bunch of salmon eggs and putting them in the basket for the match. And it's really, there's been some very funny and some very close calls in a lot of the Salmon Run matches that have been very entertaining. They've actually been a lot of fun, especially playing with other people. But again, there's nothing about like the game that I would never go out of my way on my own to play Salmon Run by myself. It's something that if other people are playing, I'm going to play. Kind of like that's how I really got into Overwatch, to be honest. And so yeah, like Splatoon, it has a pretty good, I guess, I don't know, like a record or reputation amongst new Nintendo fans, but for me, it's never something that I said, oh wow, this is really amazing or something. There's something like, no, this is the next Halo or something. But yeah, it's something, it's all right. One of the cool things is, of course, you shoot with your triggers, and of course you tap the bumpers. You'll shoot an ink grenade, and that'll make it splat everywhere, and so that acts as, again, all of your grenade and ammo are tied to your ink. And when you come across enemy player's ink, you cannot traverse through it. And if you hold the left trigger, you can basically turn into squid form, and it allows you to essentially go through a pathway that you make for yourself, which is, very efficient, fun, and cool. And again, if you take too much damage from an enemy's ink or contact, then you eventually die and explode. And so again, there's a lot of really cool terrain things you can do with this, where, you have to basically, create pathways using the ink so that you can traverse up walls and around corners and other things and under gratings in your squid form. And so you're part squid and you're part kid. The other thing that's really cool about this game is, especially in the Wii U and Switch version, is you can use the, I almost call it a 6-axis, so that's the PlayStation version, but you use motion controls essentially to aim the reticle, and I find that's a very intuitive way to actually play these games. I think they also have it in Breath of the Wild, and it's just a really nice way to just get used to the aiming. And I kind of use a combination. Now, of course, if I would do a 180, I'm going to use the control stick and move. But once I'm already in a range of focus, I can just move around the controller to basically aim where I need to shoot. And it's pretty entertaining that way, honestly. Anyway, I don't really have much else to say about this game. The campaign only lasts, honestly, a few hours. And again, it's a multiplayer focus thing. And so I'm not really super interested in that kind of setting. Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, it doesn't really matter which one you play. I don't know. I just have no real interest in this type of game, and Nintendo in general, new Nintendo in general. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.